A few months ago, we brought you a story in a community called Atiteti, where many of its residents were affected by some form of strange disease. Well, we also brought you a story about a boy called Koku. Koku is a 10-year-old boy who has been affected by some strange disease on the body. Let's take a look at this particular story. Was born with a skin disorder known as erythroderma, an inflammatory skin disease known as Redman syndrome. It is a genetic deformity which demands the affected to smear lotion of shea butter on his or her body to prevent the skin from hardening, flaking off, or seizing up.
Have you been applying?
We have been applying shea butter, bamboo, and kerosene. Okay, go to toilet. You see, some times ago, this was exactly 1 year. He was going to toilet and was beaten by someone. The sticks all remains in the hair like this.
He was going to toilet by himself?
Yes, in the bush.
In the bush? Yes. And he was beaten by someone. Why did the person beat him?
Dead. We don't know.
So that person's intention was actually to kill Koku?
Oh, yes.
Someone actually hit his head, and up to now they don't know who actually did that.
Also, we brought you a story about Alfred. Alfred belongs to a family of 11, out of which 5 happen to be blind. Let's take a look at this particular story together with other touching stories. As the first among 9 children, of which 5 are blind, Alfred says he got blind just 3 months after birth.
3 months after birth, I have not been able to see the daylight. And that's my only experience of sight was that the time I was a very young child. So from there, I was visually impaired, as many of you may say blind, from there up to 1990 up to now.
That was, however, not my concern, as my attention was drawn to Alfred's 5-year-old younger brother, Huseli, who was drinking Gary in so much haste. Huseli is also visually impaired. For this poor child who doesn't even see what he is eating, the taste of the sugarless and stinking food was not even a concern. Had it not been for my presence, I was told the other kids would have struggled with him over the food. So no wonder he kept eating without a break. It was around 3 p.m. and this is the first and last meal for this little boy that day, which might be normal to them and other villagers as well.
I was very shocked seeing his younger brother eating Gary with only salt to taste in that smelly water, and I really could not control my emotions but break down in tears. Because
unfortunately, I was shocked to see snakes, frogs, and lizards sleeping in the same room of this young man. But Alfred seemed to have no idea he has been dwelling with such reptiles in this clayey and deplorable structure he calls room.
5 of them you see here, out of 9 children, from same mother, same father, are visually impaired.
Do you also remember the story of Maku and Collins? These people are also suffering from some form of disabilities. When these stories were rolled out on our screens, many people trooped to the office and premises of TV Africa asking questions as to how government is even securing or funding for persons living with disabilities in general. Well, a sort of support has been given from government to such persons living with disabilities. The National Council on Persons with Disability under the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection held a stakeholder forum for the inclusion of disability in the extractive industry. The Gender Minister, Cynthia Morrison, on the occasion stated that as much as persons with disability constitute a considerable percentage of the population in the country, their full potentials are yet to be fully honored. The minister added that her ministry is working to put up a center for children with cerebral palsy for easy access to their therapy.
Autism, they cannot sit. They scream. Is it their fault to scream? No, that is how nature has made them. They can't sit at one place. They want to crawl. They want to do anything. But society will not accept it. They are like, hold on to that child. How do you hold on to an autistic child? How do you hold on to that? And the mother feels so shy, they keep the children indoors. 25-year-old cerebral palsy, who can't walk, who can't do anything, what do you do? So we are putting up a center, we have a place at Osu, and the vice president has promised to help us. We want to set up, even if it is as big as this room, as little as this room, at least we have to make the first step. And then after that, we'll get corporate bodies. So now we know that we have money in the oil industry. We have other corporate bodies whose responsibility is to help us. So we are going to look at how to help us. Where do we get? We have a lot of land. You know, social protection, we have a lot of places where we can put up an edifice, something beautiful, for parents to come and have counseling, parents to come and have relaxation. If you have a child like that, that is not the end of you. And we should stop stigmatization.
The Deputy Minister of Energy, Dr. Amin Adam, also in his speech said he is delighted that the extractive industry is being called upon to discuss inclusiveness of persons with disability.
How do you hold managers of our extractive resources accountable when you cannot subpoena them, when you cannot prosecute them? So these are the new things we are looking at in the new extractive resource governance bill that we are developing. And very soon, I believe in the first quarter of next year, we should be going to Parliament with the bill for consideration. And I want to see you actively participate in the stakeholder discussions and consultations that we are going to hold around the bill, so that once our resources are well protected and we can monitor how it is being used, the benefits we so much desire from our extractive industries will get to all of us. I want to encourage you to continue to discuss these issues dispassionately, and I'm very confident that by the end of this meeting, we will have a blueprint that will guide the development of gender and disability policy.
At the launch, some persons living with disabilities shared their frustrations with the news team.
There is no disability if the society is equipped to accommodate us. I mean, if there is no stairs and we cannot use the ramp, then I wouldn't need any help climbing up this place. Then in that case, I'm not even with disability. Yet the society, because of lack of accessibility and accommodation for our needs, creates that sort of disability for us. Most of us, we graduated with fantastic, very good grades, and over the years, we've had some of the best students from the University of Ghana and other universities being persons with disabilities, yet we are still not employed. We are not even asking for money, we just want survival. Some of us, we had had to cut school short to do other things in order for us to accommodate our disabilities. So for now, our life, our years to live has already, we are more than 30 years, most of us are in that age, and we are not employed. When are we going to retire?
When as a disabled person, I don't have a job. Do I go to that business advisory ministry for business? Is that where, do I go there to look for a job, or what's the purpose for me going there? Because you don't have any system or any arrangements geared towards the disabled people. So how do we assess help from your ministry side? So I don't see your actual focus for the Ministry of Business. most of the disabled people here are people that I know who are my friends. But you don't have much access to your ministry.
The Gender Minister Cynthia Morrison, together with other stakeholders, also had this to say.
The council was in the ministry. What we are going to do is that nobody can just get up and go to the business development and say that I'm disabled, give me money to work or all that. That is why you have to go through your council. So from now, we'll sit with the council, see how we do the disbursement. The district assembly has your 3% common fund, and now they're doing the disbursement. I can speak from my constituency because I'm a member of parliament. I know some people have deep freezers to work, some have machines to work and all that. So if you go through your district assembly, it's only that it's stalling because there are so many of you, and then the money comes quarterly. But with the business development, it's a different thing altogether. So it has to go through your council. The TPI is your chairperson. So we'll work through that one, and then we'll do the application. If you qualify and we know that they're going to put the money to good use, they give you.
One of the things that I want to add to what my minister mentioned is about what we have directed the oil companies to include, to develop inclusion policies and community relations policies to ensure that some fund is going to be set aside. And I'm also here to inform you that as part of our accelerated oil and gas program, quotas are going to be set aside for the inclusion and also persons with disability and also women. More than 5% is going to be given to women and also for disability.
The Reporter, an in-depth news report from The Reporter.